Hello, so today we will analyze round 5 of the Philippine Amateur Chess Championships. This is the last round of day 2, and I'm playing with black this time. And my opponent plays e4. So I play the Sicilian defense. Here against e4, I also play e6, but I don't play it often anymore. I switched to the Sicilian defense with c5. My opponent plays knight to f3, and here I just play knight to c6. My opponent plays d4, I play c takes e4, knight takes d4, and g6, the accelerated dragon. Here my opponent plays knight to c3, so I play bishop to g7, and here my opponent plays a little bit of a weird move that isn't very common, and that's move knight to f3, which isn't really a popular move here because it's just not good. Because the knight usually doesn't end up there, it usually ends up here, so that it doesn't block the f pawn in attacking my king. But now with the knight on f3, it blocks the f pawn. Additionally, the engine here says a pretty insane move here, and that's the move. Bishop takes c3. And this is a pretty ridiculous move, Bishop takes c3. After b takes c3, basically the idea is you just develop normally, like nothing happened. I don't really like this for black, because you exchange your very powerful bishop here for a knight there, and gave them a bishop pair advantage. But they have double isolated pawns here. But they also give them the B file, so I don't really like it that much. But I guess it's because these pawns are double isolated. But I don't really like it that much, so I just played knight to f6. Idea being that now if you play d4, then I just go knight to g4 here, and you lose the pawn here. There's no way to defend it actually. Because it's a triple attack and you only have one defender, so there's no way to defend it. But anyway, my opponent here just plays bishop to d3, developing normally, and here I just decided to castle. My opponent castles, and then play the move d6, with an idea maybe in the future, trade this bishop for the knight, because I don't really see a future for this bishop. Maybe put it on e6, or maybe go for a6, b5, bishop to b7, that's also another idea. So, and also preventing e5, so basically I'm just developing my pieces. My opponent plays h3, but the idea is not to prevent the bishop here. Is that after a6, which is the move I played in the game, choosing this plan, development route for the bishop, going to b7. They play bishop to e3 here. The idea basically is just preventing knight to g4. But even if they just played bishop to h3 now, and bishop to e3 now, I wouldn't actually play this, to be honest, because it doesn't really do anything after this move. I don't really like it. Oh, hold on. Maybe there's actually something there. Like here. Maybe. I guess you put a knight here, actually. Interesting. But I wasn't gonna go there. Anyway, I played a6, bishop to e3, and here I go b5, developing the pawns here. Maybe starting a minority attack. A minority attack is basically when you have minority on one side of the board, use those pawns, trade it off, and even though it does create a passed pawn for white, it's also a weakness or strength. So that's one idea. Here my opponent plays a3. I guess they thought I was just gonna push the pawn to b4 here, but I don't think I was actually gonna do that anyway. So here I just developed the bishop to b7 here, activating the bishop. In the future when I move this knight to e5, this bishop's going to be open. The dream here is that I play knight to d7, and I play knight to c5, and if you take, then I take, and both bishops are opened. I also have this nice square on c4 here. Let's say I put a rook on c8, I can play knight to c4, and basically my pieces are going to be active on both sides of the board. So my opponent plays queen to d2, the idea being to exchange the bishop here. And here I had an option. Here I could play rook e8 or rook c8. I decided to go with rook c8, not rook e8 here. Basically the idea is that after this, you just go here. But I didn't really like this for black because it just gives them complete control here with the bishop. And So I decided to just play rook c8, and after bishop to h6, I wouldn't take obviously, but I would just leave the tension there. Take with the king, and then try to play on the queen side here with the rook and the bishop, and maybe the knight going to e5 and then c4, or a5 and then c4. So that was my plan. My opponent plays rook fd1, putting the rook on the d file here. And here, I play the move knight to d7. The idea being that I want the e5 square now. And here my opponent finally plays bishop to h6. So I decided, okay, let's trade it. So let's just play knight ce5 here. Develop the bishop. And they take the knight first, I take, and then they take the bishop on g7. After king to g7, king takes g7, my opponent plays queen to e1. A little bit of an inaccuracy. You know, like, what you should be doing is try to be active here. Like, it's equal here. Maybe you should really just play knight to d5 here. And yeah, well, takes is possible, you know. This is just an equal position. You should really try to be active here. You don't really want to play retreating moves like queen to e1 here. And I decided to just play queen to b6, you know, get off the d file here. So there's no more pin, you know, with e5 coming in. Also preventing the f pawn from moving and then hitting the knight here with a pin. And now my opponent plays knight to d5. But you can pause the video and try to see why the engine suddenly says it's minus 1.2. Well, if you pause the video, the move here is just takes. Bishop takes d5. And you might be saying we give up our bishop, but we take their bishop now. And the idea is that they can't take with the rook to maintain a healthy pawn structure here, because I can just take this free pawn here, and my rook's getting very active over here, and it's looking very scary. Like, let's say you go here, I'm planning to go here. And you can never take this, by the way, because it would mate in 2, which just takes. But anyway, after knight takes d3, they're forced to go c takes d3, but I still go rook c2 anyway. And what happens next just leaves me speechless. Like, I was expecting something like rook d2 maybe, you know, try to exchange the rooks, after which I would just play rook c8, or this move, and then I would still play rook c8. But here, my opponent plays queen takes e7, and they just blundered mate in 2. After queen takes f2, they played king h1 and queen takes g2, and I won the game. So yeah, that just kind of left me confused, because I thought we were gonna have a pretty long game, you know, but I guess my opponent was pretty tired because they just blundered a mate in 2 like this. But anyway, I think what could have happened after rook c2 is probably my opponent's going to play something like d4. d4 here, try to block off the queen, and then I'd probably play like queen c7 to defend, you know, put the queen on the c file as well, and put the rook on the c file, and have a triple battery on the c file here with the rook, with the 2 rooks and the queen here. Let's say rook a c1, rook c8 here. If you take, then I can just take, and if you try to take this pawn right here, then I'm pretty sure we can just take this. And oh wait, there's just a free rook. Free rook. Yeah, there's just a free rook here, and you're losing. But anyway, my opponent played queen takes e7 and blundered mate in 2. So that was just kind of an underwhelming game. It was a pretty short game, but day 3 we'll have 2 rounds, and as the end of the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and bye. As the end of the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and bye.